Hi everybody, this is Nick from F0 Camera, and today I wanted to do a little comparison video showing exactly what it is that F0 Camera does and why this kind of true optical blur is so exciting in my opinion. So we're going to look at three pictures that are approximately the same composition. This is my lovely daughter acting as the model for us today. One was taken with an iPhone 12 in portrait mode. It was edited so that the phone was giving a computational blur that it says is like f1.4. Then another one was taken with a Canon R5C with the 50mm f1.2L lens set to f1.2. And then the third example is with the F0 camera. So let's jump in. Right here we have the iPhone image. And honestly, it's not a bad photo. The iPhone is doing a decent job of blurring this background, and actually the bokeh circles that it makes are not too dissimilar from a true f1.4 lens, which is what it's trying to emulate. Are not too dissimilar from what you'd get with an actual 50mm f1.4 lens at these distances, with this distance to subject and this distance to background. However, where it starts to fall apart is when we get a little bit closer. We can see first that while it did an okay job at masking, there's going to be artifacts around the edges. Wherever it's trying to decide, should I be blurring this area of the image or not, it's making choices that aren't necessarily the best. You can see right here in the patch of grass that you can see right behind the neck. It decided that was part of the subject, and so it didn't blur. Down here by the ponytail, it decided this was background, and so it should be blurred, where it's actually exactly the same distance from camera as the face. And anything that's in the foreground is not going to get blurred. So you're not going to get any layers here whatsoever. You're either going to get blurred or not blurred, and that's it. And especially places like here where the grass crosses over the subject, suddenly the phone decides, oh, let's blur this because this is background, and so you get these weird artifacts. And that's the case for everything that uses this kind of method. I'm not trying to pick on Apple. That's just how this method works. The device or the software decides what's background and what's not background. It makes a very simple mask. Sometimes there's a little bit of feathering around the mask in certain areas, but it's basically on or off. And that's what you get. So not terrible, but we can do better. And when we jump over to the Canon, we immediately see a massive jump in quality. This is, state of the art. This is a fantastic lens on a fantastic camera body. It's a beautiful image. We have true optical blur everywhere. So very nice, sharp subject, beautiful out of focus areas. Obviously no masking issues because there's no masking. True continuous layers from blurry foreground elements to our subject to our background. Everything looks absolutely gorgeous. No complaints here. However, at F0 Camera, we are interested in how far can we take a shallow depth of field and an out of focus background. So here is the shot at an effective f0.5. And to me, this is exactly why we do what we do at F0 Camera. I'm going to go back and forth a little bit between these two shots, not to make it too jarring for you, but we've got the labels up so you know which is which at all times. But when we go back and forth, just at first blush, take a look at the top over here where this background is. There's the Canon, and you can see it's out of focus, but there's definitely some sharp lines here, where you can see this hill off in the background doing its thing and whatnot. Over at F0, it's like a watercolor almost. It's just, to me, this is gorgeous and this is amazing. And as we zoom in on the picture, we still have a very sharp in-focus area. I wasn't focused perfectly on the face. You can see it's the focus plane is on the arm, but it's not as if that focus plane is only a half an inch wide or anything. It's focus planes are going to depend on your distance to subject. So if we were 12 inches from subject, it would be very difficult to decide what we're going to focus on. But at these distances, which is something like 6 or 8 feet, maybe more, 10 feet. I don't know. I don't remember exactly, but we're a fair distance away. And so that focal plane is getting thicker and thicker the farther you get from your subject. So it's not like it's impossible to acquire focus on what you want to. I just didn't happen to grab it on the face in this shot. I think I was kind of looking at the hair and focusing that way. But as you can see, it's gorgeous. Again, if we go back to the Canon and you can see these flowers, each flower has its own little bokeh circle because that's how the lens is rendering it. And over at f0, it's like a watercolor. And you'll still see some artifacts in here, like these things. This is just because my setup is a little bit dirty because I've been taking a lot of shots with it, taking it apart, putting it back together as I've been doing a lot of testing and experimentation with different elements. But you get the general idea here. This is exactly why we built the f0 camera, to do this kind of thing that is frankly impossible with any other method. And some of you stopped at the iPhone picture and said, that's enough for me. I don't need anything better than that. And some of you stopped at the Canon photo and said, this is what I need. I don't need any better than that. And honestly, that's a beautiful thing. That's exactly what makes photography and videography and content creation so special, is that we're all artists. We're all doing our own thing from our own point of view with the tools that we love, that produce the images that make our hearts sing the most. And so for those of you that say, I just want to make things on iPhones, I love that. More power to you. And for those of you that say, I'm very happy with traditional lenses, that's also wonderful. The reason I made the f0 camera is because this is what makes my heart sing. I see this kind of picture and I say, I've never seen anything like this. I'm really excited. I want to see more stuff like this. So if that's you, please join us for this journey. You can check us out at f0camera.com. And thank you so much for watching.